Hello everybody, welcome back to another Football Now episode 5. In this episode we're going to talk about Peter Bosz in Dortmund and how his system is kind of flawed and how it could work and cannot work during or against certain opponents. And I'll talk about those three teams that we've lost against that the system has completely failed, or somewhat worked but just didn't work fully. So let's start into it now. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about the three games that we lost in. So, Real Madrid, Tottenham, and Leipzig. Now, these are three strong teams. So, the system basically is, if you guys don't know, is Bosz wants to push, like, literally the whole 11 on the field onto the opponent's half. So, literally, all 11 players are in the opponent's half, while all that space is in the back. So if there's a counterattack or a long ball over the defense, very easy to get counterattacked on. So basically, if you're Bartra and Socrates, say they're all the way up front, same with Toljan, he's sprinting, he's all the way in the attack, because he's attacking. But if we lose possession, just like that, you're going to get a long ball over the back, say like Ronaldo. That happened a lot. Carvajal always found someone like Bale. Bale was always on the counter. He was ready because it was so simple for them, to get behind our defense. So I'm going to talk about how it's a flawed system, but also how it's a good system, because there are some positives with the whole getting the ball back within what he said 5 seconds, and how our attacking football is. It's really nice, it's something you want to watch. It's not boring football, it's special football, it's something Bosz likes doing, but it costs a lot of goals, which I've now noticed, and well, I should have realized from the start, but something that also just really just leaves us open in the back. So first game we're going to talk about is Tottenham versus Dortmund. Now, this game, Tottenham and Dortmund, it was a pretty even game. Dortmund had a lot of good chances, Tottenham as well. Berkey didn't have a good game, so he led in two very simple goals. Inner post goals. Should have never happened. Son's goal was pretty nice. I mean, it was a rocket, so I can see how that was kind of hard to save. But Kane's goal, that was kind of an easy one to save, honestly. I know I've never played as a goalkeeper, so I don't know how that, works, how saving it from inner post works. But like Berkey said, if you haven't played in goal, you can't have an opinion about it. But honestly, I feel like it's something you should have saved. But anyways, beyond that, we're going to talk about how our system affected the whole game. So basically, us having our 11 up front caused some issues for Tottenham, but a lot of issues for us. You saw Socrates get destroyed by Kane, Şahin get taken down, which did look like a foul, but Kane is really strong, so it was like a shoulder-to-shoulder kind of physical battle, it looked like, so it could have went both ways. So that was one referee decision that was kind of questionable, but at the same time, it's physical. So that was one thing, how Kane was able to just go and get dispatched from their break in midfield and just go and score. That was one downfall. And how they just kept having these easy chances going forward because our whole back line was so, pushed up. So they had all these chances, and ultimately they won the game 3-1. Maybe even it could have been 2-2, 3-2, especially with Aubameyang's goal that was ruled offside, which was definitely onside. No one can argue saying it wasn't onside because it definitely was. Dahoud had a great pass, and Aubameyang had a crazy finish. It was a really nice finish. So we were unlucky with that. A lot of unlucky decisions played in that game against us, as usual. But I'm not going to say that's the reason why we lost. I'm going to say it's because a little bit of Bosz's system, and Spurs ultimately just really, really look good. So, I applaud the Spurs. I applaud them. So that's one of the games. It was not a lot to talk about because, it was part of his system, but like I said, it wasn't all his system. So there were some complaints I had about it, but it wasn't too bad. Now, the second game I want to talk about is Real Madrid versus Dortmund. Now, this is one that I really need to talk about because I felt like Donald Trump. This one is something that just doesn't make sense to me. Why play such a high line against a world-class team? This team is known for counters. They will counter when they get the chance, and when they do, they use those counters to their advantage all the time, and they're not going to mess up. They're not going to miss chances. Berkey saved our lives that day. He was on his game. He did let another interpost goal in, but it wasn't, I'm just going to let that one slide because he saved our booty that day. He really saved our lives because if it wasn't for him, we would have let in like 7 goals. We had some good plays up front, but Toljan was caught up too far up attacking. He should have stayed back. That's Bosz's system. He wants every player up front. And it just doesn't make sense to me. And that's how Ronaldo got his goal. Was Toljan was just too late to get back and wasn't marking Ronaldo well. And Bale, that was a beautiful goal. I'm not taking anything away from that. Bale had a perfectly timed volley. I don't know how he did it. I'm gonna applaud him because that was awesome. When I saw that, I was like, you know what? I am mad. It's fine. But still, defense really let us down. Another thing is, Bosz always blames how we aren't quick enough to the ball before they pass it, which is true because we are pretty slow to get to them. That shouldn't be the only problem. It's because of our back line. He's realized that's just dangerous to play that high of a line against Real Madrid. It didn't make sense to me. And ESPN FC, everybody was saying how we just looked stupid for doing that. Like, what were we thinking? And I agree. What were we thinking? Why would we play 11 people up front like that? Like Tuchel, when Tuchel was Dortmund coach, he knew what he had to do. If he had to, change the strategy, the system, the tactics, he would. Because he wanted to adjust the game, and he wanted to get the win. Now, Bosz is very stubborn. He's like, no, 4-3-3 formation all the time. And we're going to do 11 players at the field, press, press, press. I like the pressing, but 11 players at the field, a little too overdramatic. Especially if we're up like 2-3-0. Why keep pressing? Stay back and play possession football. And then, if you can find spaces and gaps, find them. And if you get a goal, you get a goal. But don't press the whole 90 minutes. It's going to wear the players down. Like Aubameyang already has muscular injury. Toprak had a muscular injury. And Barca had a muscular injury. So that could take part of it because of how much they're pressing and running so much. It could have a toll on them. But also because, they're playing nonstop. And he's not really resting Aubameyang too much, which I was kind of upset about because it's like, we have Isaac, who, I know he's only 18, 19, whatever. But if you guys watched the Pokal game against Magdeburg, he played really, really well. I was very impressed. He did what I wanted him to do and what Bosz wants the striker to do. Come back, defend, press, win balls, create, shield himself, try to create things. He was doing that, and it was beautiful. It's something we kind of miss with Aubameyang because he's not used to that. He's more of a direct, striker. He goes, he runs, he attacks. He's not the one to come back, try to create. He's a little different. So to try to get him the first season under Bosz's system like that, I can understand how he's kind of having trouble with that. So nothing against Aubameyang because he has done absolutely well, just amazing with us. So I can't say anything wrong about Aubameyang. He does miss sitters, but gotta love him because he's a fan favorite. Yeah, like Real Madrid, like I said, just not a smart move by Bosz to play that kind of tactic with them. He did change during halftime around second half, put into like a 3-4-1 formation or something like that. He had like actually, no, it was like a 3-2-5 formation or whatever. He had like 5 attackers up front, and he was going for an all-out attack, and it did almost work because we did almost score against Real Madrid and almost grab a 3-2, and then could have even possibly done 3-3 if we actually kept going, but, the last goal killed it off, and we couldn't come back. So Real Madrid definitely exposed Bosz's system and our defense a lot. So, and I think Real Madrid will probably go all the way again, possibly, if they keep it up, but they are kind of struggling. But anyways, to the next game. The last game I want to talk about with the system is Leipzig. Now this time the high pressing actually didn't fail too much. It actually worked at some points. Never really saw anything bad. It's just our defense was definitely bad, and our trying to win the ball and stuff in midfield wasn't working because they were pressing, and that's kind of one of our, I guess, weaknesses, it seems, if they press our midfield, because those are the people we need to focus to pass to, so they can create and get things moving. So them pressing them just made it 10 times harder for us. So in the first half, it was terrible. Leipzig knew what they were doing. They had a good game plan. They got it. Second half, that's when things changed. We look a bit different. We score goals. They scored the goals. Ultimately, it could have been a draw if we, took our chances. But we always seem to miss the one goal we need to tie it or win it. So it happens. But Bosz's system, a little bit to blame in that one, but not the whole game. It wasn't his fault for the whole game. Only parts of it, and the team just didn't really play well that day, and it sucked because we lost our 42-43 game win streak at the Signal Iduna Park, the Fortress. So I still hate Leipzig with passion. But yeah, that was one game that it looked okay, but still wasn't good enough. Last but not least, I actually want to talk about Frankfurt before we end the video. Frankfurt, Dortmund was a, how can I put this, crazy game, to say the least. It was back and forth. This time, it was the system and definitely the lineup. The lineup that Bosz played didn't make sense. He played Weigl as a center back, Bartra as a right back, who actually, he doesn't look too good at the right back, but he does play pretty well because he likes going forward, so he's kind of used to it. So he played all right, and he had Subasic play. Subasic played pretty well. He actually didn't make any mistakes. He was making great slide tackles, and Weigl had a rough day because he's not a center back. I don't know what he was thinking. He could have played Zagadou as a center back, and Toljan as a left back, and then Bartra as a right back. He could have easily done that because Zagadou he's so calm on the ball, and he's such a great defender. I just don't understand why he did that. But to move on from that, he also played Şahin. I would say unbelievable. Golte's been one of our best players so far this season. Always consistent. He's back at 100%. He's happy. I'm happy. I'm glad he's back at 100%. He's playing so well for us. Now, Castro is one person I want to talk about because Castro has been awful for us. The Pokal game, he played really well because it is lower opposition we had. It was a third-tier side, which we were expected to beat, and I'm glad we beat. Because if we didn't beat him, I would have said Bosz out. Yeah, I just don't understand why Bosz has so much confidence in Castro. Castro's been playing very poorly these past few games. So him just constantly playing him just doesn't make sense to me. And up front, Aubameyang missed a lot of sitters that game, which was crazy. I know he's tired. We should have given him a rest, but we just didn't. And then Philip didn't look too good. Pulisic doesn't have much confidence anymore because of the whole U.S. thing, and he's just down in the dumps, and he's just not at his best right now. So overall, the team just didn't play well again. But also, it was the system and what Bosz decided to field. It just didn't make sense to me. Saying on Twitter how it was probably the weirdest lineup as a Dortmund fan I've seen. So it was very, very odd to see Weigl as a center back. It didn't make sense to me. I had all these different lineups in my head of what they could have done, how they could have approached the game, but that's how he did it. And we got a 2-2 draw. We were up 2-0. We let it slip, which is something we shouldn't have done. Because if you're up 2-0, like Bosz said, you should win the game. Yeah, guys, I hope I got a lot of information to you guys about Bosz's system. It's flawed, but also can work at the same time. Against lower opposition, it can work because it's just a lot of pressing 11 players at the field, suffocating that team. And especially, like I said, against a low, small team, it can work. But against a big side that know what they're doing, that can get out of it, and have a coach that just can read that and understand how to get through it, it's tough and it won't work. And against Bayern the first time in the Super Cup, it kind of worked. Our defense was a bit sloppy, but we were very hungry that game. We were going at it. We played really well. We were unlucky to lose, actually. It wasn't Bayern who deserved it. It was actually us who deserved it. So, let's give some credit to Bosz because he does have us in first place, which is great, but now it's 20 points. We've lost we lost the game and drew a game, so we've dropped. Could have gotten 6 points out of those games, but we only got 1 point out of those games, which is just terrible. That's all I want to talk about, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's just a bit of me ranting about Bosz. Not many people I can just go and talk to about Bosz. There are people on Twitter, Dortmund fans I follow that follow me, that I get in conversations with about how we should line up and stuff like that. So if you guys want to talk to me about it, my Twitter is in the link below in the description. I'll be right there next to my Facebook as well. But I'm mainly on my Twitter to talk to you guys. So yeah, just follow me there. Yeah, thank you for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys like this episode of Football Now. It'll be episode 5. So thank you, like I said, for watching. If you guys liked this video, click the like button and subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.